Good morning, guys. Good morning, Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are having a great morning on your purpose, continuing your plan and goals. I'm always amazed in things that I'm seeing and all the different types of people who are striving to become the best they can become. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Thank you for all the subscriptions, the donations, the likes, comments, those type of things is all greatly appreciated. Carl, you had a great comment. I didn't get a chance to respond back to you, but he suggested a new YouTuber, I think in France, who has got some good communication types of aura and masculine aura. So I'm going to take a look at him. I think what I'm doing is John Wayne. I'm going to try to do John Wayne sometime over the next day or so. And we'll kind of every week do someone, so he will be on the list. And so I appreciate that, Carl, and I'm glad you like the one on Tupac as we kind of look at people. So, guys, the key really is to try to go back to, in some ways, you don't ever want to go back, kind of want to move forward, but sometimes you have to kind of go back to the history. And they always say, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And so a lot of times what ends up happening is that we always tend to be, somebody who looks at history but not really applies it. We can see the world today. A lot of times we're repeating the mistakes we've made before. And I think people are beginning to wake up a little bit and realize things that they thought were true are not true. Retention is one of those things. And I'm now at 527 days. And I feel great. Actually, I'm seeing some changes now with monk mode being 50 days. I am seeing some really changes in myself. I'll have to kind of maybe do a whole video on that when I get a little bit more defined on what I'm experiencing. But I do feel different over the last few weeks now. And I think maybe there's something that I can kind of draw from that to help you guys with. I haven't really kind of worked out in my mind yet. But I do know that I'm getting some changes within myself, and it just feels stronger and stronger all the time. So today's episode, we're going to talk about decisions and making decisions. And guys, I think the key really is that you have to decide to go all in on this plan. Whether it's monk mode you're talking about, or just basically kind of you taking it step by step, which is what I had to do because I didn't have the kind of faith and strength that I should have probably had back then. And I didn't really kind of realize how great this all is. But it really is a matter of kind of buying in, making the right decision. And I think the right decision is kind of the name of this one. Is basically saying the right decision is to go ahead and do this. Do the plan. Because you're going to see so much more benefits from this. And you're going to go ahead and kind of look and see, okay, I'm going to go and do better every day. I'm going to focus on doing better and achieving the goals that I want to achieve. And no matter how old you are, you might be 20, you might be 30, you might be 60 like myself, and you're going to go ahead and say, okay, life is better. There's a lot more out there and things that I can do, and I don't have to waste my time, right, focusing on things that are going to hurt me. Now, this wasn't always the case, obviously. When I'm looking at, things like the plan and retention, things like that. Once again, I was living in what they call the blue matrix for a long, long time. And part of the red matrix, not only in certain attitudes you have about things in the world, this is one of those attitudes about things in the world. And you got to make a decision whether or not you're going to go all in or not. And I think that's the key to it. You can do things like we see with everything else. You can do things that are half-hearted. You can do things that you're going to be able to focus on. Okay, I'll do this. I'll do a little bit of this. I'll do a little bit of that, and try to get the best of both worlds. Well, that's not going to give you the maximum effort. I tried for years doing different things. I even did the Fountain of Youth stuff halfway for a while. And it wasn't until I got to write the six right, they call it, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to focus on retention and celibacy. And once you start doing that, all of a sudden now the pieces all put together. And I should have been doing this years ago, but I wasn't really ready. I don't believe people are ready until they get to that point where they're going to accept it. And it took me a lot of years because I had a lot of years of brainwashing the other way. I mean, I thought I was always going to be hurt by this and be able to do that. So I want to focus on trying to look to see, okay, how can I better my life? And I've been searching that through my whole life and trying to go ahead and focus on how can I become the best person I can become. So the key to me is to kind of say, okay, let's go ahead and be the best person you can be. And part of that is making the decision to go ahead and stay on the plan and goal. And guys, that's the key thing. Every day of your life, you're going to make decisions. And you're going to have to kind of decide, okay, what is it that's in my best interest, and what is it not my best interest? And I think, to me, that's the whole key in things that we do. I think certainly you can look at short-term pleasures and say, okay, this is great. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I'm going to go ahead and buy this thing even though I may not have enough money for it. I'm going to go ahead and watch this thing even though it's tempting and I might release again. I might go ahead and go out with this person even though I know that there's not a lot of things here, but I feel like desperate. I feel like I need to do this. So the thing is, you don't need to do anything. And this is the whole thing. We're seeing this now in the world where people are starting to stand up and say, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do this thing. I'm not going to do that thing. And I think the key, guys, is to realize that you have that ability. We're not just robots running around saying that we're caught by this or do this. That's not how we are in life, right? We don't focus on those type of things. We need to look at seeing, okay, I'm going to focus on the decisions I need to make to become the best person I can become. And I think that's the whole key to it, in order to realize that I can become better than I am. And I can become someone who is strong and masculine. And I think that's the other thing in society. A lot of people are getting shamed because of that. And they're shamed because they're acting masculine, and they call it, I think, masculine toxicity. Sorry, being toxic, right? Masculine being toxic. And I think that's the most foolish thing in the world, right? But once again, people are looking at doing this for reasons. They want to make you feel that you're not strong. They want to make you feel like you're not a masculine person and that you're not the leader. And so it's a matter of control. And it could be control from the corporations, big pharma, could be controlled by the big corporations, or it could be something where you're focusing on maybe, and I have just my thing here, you're focusing on something that is different. They want you to do something different. And just because they want you to do it doesn't mean you're going to do it. And I think the thing is, you have to make a decision, and that decision has to be something that's going to be something you're going to be able to focus on and say, what is the best decision for me? And I think the best decision for you is focusing on what is good and what's going to benefit you in the long run. And I think that's the kind of key that we're looking at. My phone's going back and forth all the time here. So I'm looking at this. I think decisions, even though we think it's kind of a simple type of thing, the right decision is always difficult. But I'm finding that as I'm going through the journey, that being able to focus on the right decision and meditating and listening to my Lord, all those type of things, it's easier. The decision is easier because I sense a calmness in myself more than I did before. And I sense that this is something that I should have been doing a long time ago. And once again, I think I said this before, but I think the only memory I've ever had of being any kind of streak that really resembled something that I really remember, and maybe this is the back of my mind, I remember this, and I was about 11, 12, 13 years old. Before I started the new streak, or before I started, relapse and all that kind of stuff, I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know what I was doing for the first year or so, a couple of years, until I figured it out. But the thing is that I felt like a whole different person before that. And I'm getting back to that point now. I'm getting back to that mentality. Now, of course, now I'm 11 and 12 years old, I looked at life obviously a little differently, and I don't remember a lot of things back then. But the thing I do remember is the feeling I had that I wasn't sitting there chasing girls. Actually, they were chasing me. I should probably remember this all these years, right? But they were chasing me, and I actually was running away from them. I remember going to, when I was like 12, 13 years old, going to a party, and it might have been a wedding of one of my relatives or something, and there was like 2, 3 girls chasing me around, and I didn't want any part of them. And it was kind of funny back in those days to think about that. But the thing is that that's part of what we do, guys. And I think part of what it is that was a time that I remember, and I think I go back to that because I believe that I'm starting to go back to that time right now. I go back to that time, and I'm not focusing on women or the girls or anything like that, right? I'm focusing more on things around me, and I think that's such a key. I think that's such a key when it comes to retention. I think it's a key to focusing on using your energy the right way, and that's why I say this is very important. So the best decision that you can make, guys, if you're not part of the 1% club that's doing this, is to go on the streak and to just try it. We're all here to support you guys. I know there's people that go back and forth and they relapse, and this is understandable, but remember that the more you can do it, the stronger you become. And we're all here for you guys, but making the right decision is biggest part of your battle. Deciding that this is the right thing to do is part of the battle. And I think that's the whole key to it. So, we're going to go through? All right, go ahead. All right, until next time, guys, battle on.